very good day to everyone. My name is FARAH IZZATI binti Muhammad HASHIM from KBA 1192A. Today, we would like to do the presentation of Chapter 2, Demand and Supply of Coffee. In this chapter, there are two parts, which is Part A and Part B. In Part A, there are three scenarios, and I would like to talk about the first scenario. So, let's read the question first. Suppose that, as part of an international trade agreement, the Malaysia government reduces the tariff on imported coffee. Will this affect the supply or demand for coffee? Why? Which determinant of demand or supply is being affected? So, the answer is yes. If the Malaysia government reduces the tariff on imported coffee, it will increase the supply. Reducing the tariff will increase the supply due to the price of importing a good dropping. Besides that, having the price of importation drops create freedom for producers to use some funding to expanding their supply. This funding could be directed towards production of the coffee, new roast, flavors, sizing increases, and so many options. Furthermore, the determinant of supply being affected is cost of importation, which in turn decreases cost of production. How will this change the equilibrium price and quantity of coffee? So, this is the graph, impact on increase in supply with no change in demand. This will affect the equilibrium price by decreasing the price as a result of a higher quantity of coffee. The reason for this is because while the supply of coffee is increased, as well as the variety, the demand did not. If companies charge more for increased supply, it will decrease quantity demanded, leaving a surplus of coffee. So, that's all the presentation for Scenario 1. Let's take a look for the Scenario 2 and Scenario 3.
My name is BINTI alias, and I'm going to talk about Scenario 2. The question is, suppose the Ministry of Health (MOH) in Malaysia published a study finding that coffee drinking reduces the probability of getting colon cancer. How do you imagine this will affect the market for coffee? Why? What can I imagine when the Ministry of Health (MOH) in Malaysia published a study finding that coffee drinking can reduce the probability of getting colon cancer? I think it will affect the market for coffee by increasing the demand for coffee. It is because for sure that many people will have the demand to buy the coffee for reducing the risk of getting cancer. This demand happens because people will buy the coffee as stated by MOH that coffee can reduce the probability of getting colon cancer, so the people will try drinking coffee. The demand for coffee will be increased once you're running on the same supply. For the second question in the scenario 2, which determinant of demand or supply is being affected? Show graphically with before and after curve on the same axis. How this will change the equilibrium price and quantity of coffee? Explain your reason. My answer is, the determinant of demand affected is the number of consumers. Why? It is because many consumers will buy the coffee to decreasing the risk of getting cancer. The change in demand for coffee will affect the equilibrium price by increasing the price of coffee. The quantity of coffee will remain the same as the supply of coffee to be sold did not change. The reason for this is while the demand for coffee increased, the supply did not. If they charge less, they will not be able to keep up with the demand. The equilibrium price must change in order to keep steady with the change in demand. If the equilibrium price did not change, there will be a shortage of coffee because of how high in demand of coffee will be.
My name is ATIQAH FIKRIYAH binti ZAHARI from KBA 1192A. I will explain the scenario 3, which is combined of part 1 and part 2. I will read the question first. Suppose that the Malaysia government reduced the tariff on import coffee and a reputable study is published indicating that coffee drinkers have lower rates of colon cancer. What will the combined impact be on the equilibrium price and quantity of coffee? If the Malaysian government lower the rate of coffee imports and studies on coffee drinking could lower the percentage of colon cancer sufferers, then the market would reach an equilibrium. The quantity of coffee supply and request will reach the point of intersection where the equilibrium price will be found. As a result, this combination will create a balance of prices that both consumers and manufacturers will agree on. It means when the price balance, the consumer and the manufacturers or suppliers of import coffee will get the benefit together, which is consumer will get the coffee in lower price, the manufacturers or supplier can supply more coffee. Next, this will also cause a balance in the quantity where supply and demand can be satisfied for both sides. Besides, the reason for this is that manufacturers are able to produce their products at lower prices due to lower tariffs so that they can increase supply of coffee. When the manufacturers or suppliers offer the lower price of coffee to the consumer, in addition, the manufacturers or supplier have to pay also the lower price of tax or tariffs, so the demand of imports coffee will be increased so that the manufacturers or suppliers can produce more imports coffee. Next, the increase in supply will be benefit consumers as there is an increase in coffee demand due to the study. Rather than not having enough, the market could keep up with the increase in demand. This will be finding the market equilibrium.
My name is FARAH NAJEHAH binti KHANAFI from KBA 119-2A. I want to answer for the question they asked. One of the example in your life that change in the market and how the change affect the equilibrium. Okay, for the answer is one of the example change in the market is face mask. In past year, the face mask price was low and the demand was low too. This is because the function of the face mask is to avoid disease infection and only who are sick will wear the face mask. When transmission COVID-19, majority people are panic with the pandemic COVID-19. In addition, the Ministry of Health also encouraging people to wear the face mask when they are public place to avoid the infection of the COVID-19. The disease also include fever, cold and more. It make the demand of the increase, the price, the supply also increase and the price are increasing. The government taking action toward the pharmacy and Shopee online that they are increasing the price higher the equilibrium price. Under the situation, the supplier were very under stress because they need to supply more masks, but they also need to decrease the number of the worker. There are also people taking advantage that selling face mask, dirty face mask in online. This is because majority people in Malaysia need to wear the face mask, especially frontliner who are working in hospital to fight the COVID-19. The demand curve shifted to the right and the price also increasing from 80 cent to RM1.50. The equilibrium for the face mask is at higher price and higher quantity. Thank you.
I'm HANI ATHIRAH binti RASHID from KBA 119-2A, and I will explain about article in Part B, Chapter 2. As you can see the article given using URL in the reference, the article shows that 88% of Malaysians wear masks during the pandemic to avoid infections. During the coronavirus outbreak, Datuk Dr. Noor Hisham suggests to wear masks when we going outside. Luckily, Malaysians were obedient and they start to wear masks when they are going outside. Start from 24th February 2020, Malaysians start to wear masks around, and the chart below shows
that increases and decreases of people wearing masks until 8 June 2020.
So that's all the explanation from us. Thank you for watching.